The benefits of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines continue to outweigh the risks. Well, that's according to Singapore's Expert Committee on COVID-19 Vaccination and Senior Infectious Diseases Specialist David Lai from NCID, who have called out claims by a group of local doctors behind an open letter arguing for a halt in the vaccination of adolescents here. The letter, posted by Dr. Koh Kwang Po, was said to be written on behalf of many concerned pediatricians, physicians, specialists, surgeons and GPs. It came after a 13-year-old American boy died days after he received his second dose of a COVID-19 vaccine in the US. In a revised statement issued today, the Ministry of Health said that reports about the child's death did not state heart failure as a cause, as alleged in the open letter, and the matter is still under investigation. Now, in his Facebook post, Associate Professor Lai said that it is the same small group of doctors who are once again misleading and misinforming the public, noting that 3 of the doctors were involved in an earlier letter calling for children to be given traditional COVID-19 vaccines instead of mRNA ones. He stressed that in the face of a more transmissible Delta variant, it is imperative that we protect our children from severe COVID-19 and its complications. Prof. Lai joins me now to share more. Professor, welcome back to the show. With US authorities still investigating whether COVID-19 vaccine caused the death of an American boy, it's perhaps understandable that Singaporean parents of teenage boys and some doctors here would be concerned about the safety of vaccines and feel there's no need for the rush to get vaccinated. Professor, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Haryanto. Now, we do not yet know the cause of death in this unfortunate single case in the US. But it's important to remember that the US CDC data clearly shows that the majority of the patients with myocarditis associated with mRNA vaccines have a very mild illness and recover very rapidly, which is not similar to other causes of myocarditis. And additionally, it's very rare, 1.6 per 100,000. So it's important to put in perspective. Now, I have to say that our Ministry of Health has been very transparent as well. On the 11th of June, it has issued a statement advising the public what to do in this situation. Now, there's a false comfort currently that our children are safe. It's important to remember that we've protected our children by very aggressive test, trace, and isolate, and many of us have adhered to safe distancing and mask wearing. However, with the arrival of the Delta variant, we should remember that only a month ago or so, there is many schools have to shut down because of the tuition center cluster. So clearly, our children can be affected by COVID-19. Now, if a lot of children are affected by COVID-19, even though the risk of severe COVID is low, some will end up in intensive care and a few will die. So this is the key point. We want to protect our children from this occurrence. And this will happen a lot more than 1.6 per 100,000 if COVID-19 spreads rapidly among the schools here. So if our parents listen to these doctors and then do not vaccinate their children, what will happen? If this Delta variant gets out of control, some children will end up in ICU. And I just wonder, who will be responsible then? Now, our government has to be responsible and act in the best interest to protect our children. So I think this is the point about this whole issue. And in fact, many countries are starting to vaccinate their children once they realize that outbreaks can occur among children. US has started. Israel, who initially was reluctant, now that they have seen school outbreaks with the Delta variant, they started vaccinating their children. So what we are doing in Singapore is not really too unusual. It's because of the situation that we need to protect our children in the face of this more transmissible variant that can cause more severe disease.
The assessment of the expert committee on vaccination is that the benefits of vaccination outweigh the risks, like what you mentioned as well. Now, so far, 4 of the 6 cases of myocarditis and pericarditis among people vaccinated here involved men between 18 and 30 years old. Professor, at what point should the public be concerned?
So this is the point where I think we need to remind people about our stringent regulatory controls. All doctors have to report serious complications after vaccination, whether we feel it is related or not related to COVID, to HSA. HSA continuously monitor this data and reviewed it and notify MOH. Now, this is exactly what happens. This is how we came about to know this, because this is exactly what happened in the US. The doctors reported it, US CDC reviewed it, and then shared with everyone. We attended the meeting on the 23rd of June. So this is how we can pick up safety signals. And at this stage, as we shared on the 11th of June, there is a very, very slight increase in risk. But the benefit, as I mentioned above, far outweighs the risk. Now, obviously, this is an ongoing process. I think we should have faith and trust in HSA and MOH. There's no reason why the government will compromise the safety of our children, because our children are our future.